What's good, YouTube? It's your boy DizzyFOF. Faith over fear. Don't wear it out, but wear it right. Mr. Who? Beat your bike in. Today, we got the Lord, Mr. Boo in his side of town, the UK, Huddersfield. The Daily Divide in Huddersfield, F Block versus Topsides. Y'all let me know in the comments how this turned out, what's going on, without being too federal now. We don't need Jakes. We don't need informants now. We don't need turnouts. Just, fill me in a little bit if he misses anything in here. But y'all recommended me this video because I kept asking who's Booter B, where's he from? The lore, the backstory, the synopsis. Rated R. But like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't halfway fuck with me, all the way fuck with me. 7K on the way. Let's get to it. The Daily Divide in Huddersfield. F Block versus Topsides. I'm going to try not to pause too much.
In recent years, we have seen the rise of drill music coming out of Huddersfield, with rappers like Booter B making a huge noise in the scene. However, what a lot of drill fans are unaware of is the ongoing war in Huddersfield between two street gangs. Huddersfield is even known to have a massive gun crime problem, with news channels labeling it an epidemic, with broad day shootings and stabbings playing out between two gangs, those being F Block and Topsides. F Block is a street gang based in Fartown and parts of Birkby within North Huddersfield, around the HD2 postcode. Fartown is notoriously known as the worst part of Huddersfield, with it even being labeled a war zone by residents living there. The F Block gang has been around for nearly 2 decades, with F Block even having traces back to the early 2000s.
So this shit really go deep.
To themselves
Pause.
F Block in
Why for
recent
that?
years, due to them
Like, it got a rich history. Like, it's more than meets the eye. No Transformers.
Which has become very deadly in recent years. F Block also has an alliance with Walpole, or Wally, which is another street gang based within Huddersfield. In recent years, we would see F Block blow in the drill scene, with a young rapper named Booter B exploding on the scene. Now, Topsides is a gang also based around the HD2 postcode within North Huddersfield. However, Topsides is split into 3 different subsets, with the younger generation going by RSK and Up Top nowadays. However, the original generation goes by BBD, which stands for Black Bandana Gang. These 3 sets make up the Topsides gang. Topsides is based around Brackenhall, Sheepbridge, Dayton, and Bradley.
Nah, the politics is so intertwined. Y'all are up the road from each other on some Chicago shit.
Whilst Topsides don't have many rappers,
On
the
some New
rappers
York
they
shit.
do have are seriously hard and definitely deserve some recognition.
On some
A lot of
LA
Topsides
shit.
rappers don't really drop songs much, with a lot of their music being leaked. Around 2018, Topsides would start beefing Wally or Walpole, which was close with F Block. Topsides would also beef Dalton Drillers around this time. Following this, F Block, Wally, and Dalton would decide
This is
to
a lot
form
to
an alliance.
digest,
However, it
y'all.
wouldn't last long, and Topsides would declare a full-on war between the gangs. F Block members would start to distance themselves from Dalton members around this time, as they saw them as responsible for starting the war. This meant Wally and F Block would beef Dalton, and also beef Topsides. This then resulted in Dalton being a renegade gang, meaning they have no allies, and beef all of
They're
the gangs
EBK.
in Huddersfield. Now, stabbings and shootings would play out between Topsides and F Block, with a lot of these shootings playing out in broad daylight. So much so, that around the late 2010s, F Block would even start referring to themselves as BDG, or Broad Day Gang, due to them carrying out shootings and stabbings on ops in
Yo,
broad
wow.
daylight. It would be
That's
around
a different type of
2018
confidence.
that one of the most
Let your
notorious
nuts hang, though,
incidents
yo.
would occur between the
Go back. I'm
gangs.
talking too
It would
much,
be
yo.
around 2018 that one of the most notorious incidents would occur between the gangs. Now, Topsides boss named LM and other Topside members would catch a prominent member of F Block named Booter B. They would attempt to shoot at him. However, the gun would allegedly jam, with the Topside.
What's Booter? Because I've seen that flag in one of his videos before. What ethnicity is he? Is he Middle Eastern, like Arabic-ish? Y'all let me know something in the comments.
Members fleeing. Around 30 minutes later, F Block would look for retaliation, and a member
What
would spot
flag is
LM
that?
and shoot him in the head on camera. However, the bullet would graze his head, and he would luckily survive. This incident is often referred to in recent Booter B songs.
Oh, now it makes sense. That's a little shallow. Yeah,
Around
I
August
just
2019,
reacted to that,
we
yo.
would start to see F Block members starting to make music. They would drop a rude
That's
cipher
where it started,
titled
okay.
F Block Block Cipher. This included many different F Block members freestyling. They would refer to the shooting of LM multiple times on this song, and would even reference another incident where another opposition member would be stabbed with his girlfriend.
Remember that day in Brax when he got knifed? Man tried run, got his girlfriend's life. Don't try come to my side.
Drill fans would start to notice F Block as their bars were seriously rude. The cipher would do good, considering this was F Block.
Seriously rude. It ain't rude, my nigga. Them shits is vile, demonic, Real fucking do it's.
First
Fucking to me.
appearance in the drill scene, and it currently sits on 428,000 views.
And this is an old video, so it's probably got more by now.
Consistent with music, with most of the members focusing on the streets, with F Block alone even making up a lot of the knife and gun crime within Huddersfield, with F Block even allegedly shooting one of their own members around 2019 due to internal disputes, separating the gang into two sub-gangs, which in recent years we have seen popular F Block member Booter B rap about. It would be around 2020 where Booter B would be jailed, as we wouldn't see any more music following the F Block cipher. Topsides would also be quiet around this time, however they would still carry out deadly attacks on any rivals, with them also being a big contributor to the gun crime within West Yorkshire. However, a lot of their members were pretty unknown, as they didn't really rap around this time. However, we would see the beef explode in December 2020.
That's peak COVID, damn near.
On the 19th of December, 2020, Jams, who was an F Block member, would be taking his mum to work. However, what Jams didn't know was that 3 Birkby gang members would be looking to kill. They had scouted out Jams's house the day before and would be waiting outside his house for him. Jams would be sitting in his car outside of his house waiting for his mum when the Birkby members would spot him. They would fire multiple shots into his car. Jams would be hit numerous times. Police and emergency services would be called to the scene. Paramedics would try their best to save Jams. However, sadly, he would be pronounced dead on the scene. A murder investigation would be launched following this. Originally, 4 men were arrested for the murder. Police would connect these men to the crime, and later in 2022, they would all be found guilty and be jailed, with 3 of the 4 men getting a life sentence. Rest in peace, Jams. F Block would be looking for retaliation following the murder of Jams, and only days later, they would
Okay, so Jams was Booter B's man's F Block. Okay, I'm tying it all in.
Looking for ops. They would spot a Birkby member named Tooch standing outside of a mosque.
So it's F Block versus Birksby right now.
The oncoming bullets, with him being killed on the scene and paramedics arriving moments later. However, luckily, Tooch would be revived by the paramedics and would survive the attack.
Okay.
This incident is also often referenced in recent F Block songs. Only 10 days after the death of Jams on the 29th of December 2020, Booter B, who hadn't dropped any music at all in 2020, would return to the drill scene with a Hood's hottest freestyle. Fans would start noticing that Booter B was talking real grease in his song.
I think I reacted to that too.
Start commenting on how hard he sounded on drill beats. Booter B was steadily growing.
Not that one, but the other video that he showed.
With the violence in the streets still continuing, and dozens of articles being
DizzyFOF
surrounding broad day shootings and stabbings playing out between the gangs. And in August 2021, Booter would return to the drill scene again.
And they getting active during COVID.
For 8 months.
Fuck the sickness.
With a song titled No Point. The music video to this song
No
was
Point, I
even
reacted
filmed
to
on
that
their
too.
op block. In December 2021, Booter would link up with Pac-Man TV.
So damn near all of his songs is like this songs for real. Like all the songs I reacted to is like, yeah. Okay. DizzyFOF. But talk to me though.
And release a hotspot freestyle, which would gain a lot of attention and currently.
I don't think I reacted to that one. I don't think I heard
However,
that.
Booter wasn't done there, and 10 days later, on the 16th of December, he would drop a song on Mixtape Madness titled Blanks, where he dissed Topsides, Birkby, and Dalton for attempting to shoot him with blanks. 2022 would begin, and we would start to see Topsides rapping again, with a younger generation going by RSK starting to drop songs. In May 2022, 2 members of RSK named YC and Lurks would drop a song named Risk It Avenue, where they would diss F Block and other rivals. Topsides would be somewhat consistent, with rappers like YC really putting on for RSK around this time. At the start of August 2022, F Block members would spot a Topsides member named Nino outside of a men's club. The F Block members would draw knives and start to attack Nino. One of the F Block members would thrust his knife towards Nino, resulting in his hand being chopped off. Eyewitnesses said that his hand was twitching on the floor following the stabbing. The F Block members would flee following this attack.
Some movie shit.
A 17-year-old boy being arrested shortly after the attack. However, I can't find if this person was charged or not. Booter B would be blowing up around this time, gaining hundreds of new fans every day. However, what no one was expecting was that the next person would be killed due to the beef during this time. On the 15th of August 2022, Javs, who was a Topsides member, would be at a street party on Claremont Road, Moss Side,
Got caught
which is
lacking, huh?
located in Manchester. During the early hours, members
Shout out
of
Manny.
Manny named JD and Capo would spot Javs, who was standing with friends. The boys standing with Javs would fire off a firearm toward JD and Capo. However, the bullet would miss and hit the floor. Capo and JD would respond with knives and would chase down Javs. Javs would be stabbed 5 times by the pair. JD and Capo would flee the scene following the stabbing, and paramedics and police would be called to the scene. scene. Javs would be rushed to hospital, however he would die whilst being treated in the hospital. A murder investigation would be launched following this, with all of the members from both opposing groups going on to be arrested. JD and Cap O would also be arrested. They would be charged for the murder of Javs and would be found guilty. JD, who was a Wally member, would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 21 years, and Capo would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 20 years. Rest in peace, Javs. It would be around August 2022 when Booter B would find himself fresh home from jail after previously going to jail in May, 3 months earlier. Whilst it's unknown why he went to jail, he does reference being charged with 3 attempted murders, but beating the cases a lot in his songs following this.
You are not the same. Took the AM to trial and never lost the case. I see the look. I got back 3 attempted murders. I shut my mouth, never said one word.
Oh yeah, we just saw this.
Booter B would be
we just saw that
after the death of Javs and would drop a song named BNB, or Back and Better, where he would rap about jail and how his fans kept telling him to focus on music, which it looked like Booter was ready to do. The violence would continue to play out in the streets, and under a month after the death of Javs, another person would be killed as a result of the rivalry. On the 21st of September 2022, a 15-year-old member of Topsides named YR would be on his way home from school with friends in Huddersfield when 2 young members of F Block named Slim and Jugga would be waiting to ambush him. They had dressed into black clothes and had prepared face masks. When YR would walk past Slim and Jugga, the 2 F Block members would jump out and stab YR multiple times. Slim and Jugga would flee the scene following this incident. YR's friends would try and help him. They would call emergency services, who would arrive on the scene moments later. However, despite their best attempts to save YR, he would sadly be pronounced dead 2 hours later in hospital, meaning yet again another murder investigation would be launched.
Rest
The
in
2
peace,
killers
doggy.
who weren't able to be named due to them being 15 and 17 at the time would be arrested.
They get
not
into it
long
young,
after the
too.
murder. They would be found guilty and would be sentenced to life with a minimum of
Shit.
16 and 18 years each. After the sentencing, their names and faces would actually be released to the public. Rest in peace, YR. My condolences go out to his family. During the rest of 2022, Huddersfield would basically be on fire, with it being normal to see shootings and stabbings happening daily. This much violence in Huddersfield would result in the crime rate soaring to 136% in comparison to London's crime rate of 87%.
That don't even make
Booter
sense.
B would release 6 different songs following his release in August 2022, which is good consistency, and would result in Booter blowing in 2022, with new and old drill fans all starting to notice him and the Huddersfield drill scene. 2023 would start, with Booter B dropping a UK drill banger titled Strawberry Daiquiri, which was seriously hard, and on the 9th of February would drop a song featuring
Why this UK drill plug, nigga? I don't know who you is, or if this is like a, or if it's like a program user. But why'd you say it was seriously hard? You heard him? I'm sorry, this is a serious video, but listen to him, yo.
titled Strawberry Daiquiri, which was seriously hard, and
Which was seriously hard. You hear him? Shout out to you, UK drill plug. I just had to call that out. Which was seriously hard.
on the 9th of February would drop a song
Aw, Shaz,
featuring
nigga. No, I'm joking.
Mastermind. However, only days later,
Don't
another
come for me.
person would fall victim to the
Pause. Wife
streets.
it up.
On the 20th of February 2023, a 17-year-old named Harley Brown, nicknamed Drips,
So I'm just really thinking about this whole thing. Booter B really did his come up during COVID. Him and his guys, they said from 2020 to 2023. So like basically all of COVID, he took that time when he got back home to really go. Good
was
on
an
you.
alleged member of Wally, which was a gang allied with F Block. Anyways, Harley would be standing near a 24-hour shop on Colne Street within Huddersfield and would spot 2 boys who were Dalton gang members. Anyways, the 2 boys aged 16 and 14 would chase Harley onto Maple Street, where they would catch up and stab him multiple times. The
Damn.
attackers would flee, and Harley would stagger onto Kings Mill Lane. Harley would be taken to hospital. However, he was sadly pronounced dead in
Damn.
hospital hours later.
Niggas is
Following the
dropping
attack,
left
a
and
murder
right.
investigation would be
Shit.
launched, with the 14-year-old being arrested hours later during the day, and the 16-year-old being arrested 2 days later, on the 22nd of February 2023. Both of the teens would be facing murder charges, with them both pleading not guilty. However, in December 2023, both teens would be found guilty. The younger boy would be given 10 years, and the older boy would be given 14 years. Rest in peace, Harley Brown, or Drips.
Damn.
Harley Brown would move from Deptford in South London to Huddersfield around 2020, as his mum had fears he was being groomed into drug gangs in Deptford. My condolences go out to Harley's friends and family. Following this incident, Booter B would drop his first EP, featuring 5 songs. These songs had one feature from fellow F Block member GR, who we have also seen start to make music following this. Booter B wouldn't stop at an EP though, with him dropping a Daily Duppy and a Mad About Bars to end the year.
Yeah, we
And
did
as
both of those.
2024 began, he would drop a 16-track album featuring rappers T-Way, Heady One, Still Brickin', SL, and We Want Wraiths, which just shows how well known Booter B has become in recent years. If you have learned anything from this video, make sure it's to not involve yourself with the road life. as it really only leads to two options, those being jail or death, with it just being an endless cycle of violence that will never stop. Rest in peace, everyone in this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, like UK Drill Plug just told y'all, if y'all enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment if you want to, but we know a little bit more about in Huddersfield. Dizzy, I'm gone.